Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to each and every one of you who have taken your time to attend and participate in this session. Welcome again to our Cool Mom Super Dad Consultancy Parenting Talk. But for this month, the 8th session that since we have conducted this since last year, we are taking a special detour because this month is a special month, especially for the ladies, in particular the mothers. So we have chosen this topic primarily because we want to raise the level of awareness. And surprisingly, with the pandemic is happening now, and with the current situation of MCO and PKP, the situation can get worse. Victim can become trapped because the perpetrators is there all the time. And WHO has already indicated that for every 5 men, 1 will be experiencing domestic violence, and for every 3 ladies, 1 will be experiencing that. So I'm a moderator today, Ahmad Fakhri bin Hamzah, together with my business partner in crime, Jamilah Samian. We will take for the next 1.5 hours to try and raise not only the level of awareness, but also provide you with some valuable tips from our expert panelists. With that, Jamilah, over to you then.
Thank you, Ahmad, and a very good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. According to reports, there are more than 900 cases of domestic violence reported to the Ministry of Family Development, Women and Family Development. So that's a very, very high number. And we are very concerned about this. Because we know that domestic violence have severe consequences on family development, both on the spouse as well as the children and possibly other family members. So we are very fortunate today. We have 2 ladies who are well versed in this matter. We have Dr. Yeo Pei Li, counselor, educator, as well as clinical supervisor. We also have Madam Kogilavaani, Elawarise, who is a counselor with Bukit Aman, department, D11 department from PDRM. Now, my first question is to Madam Kogilavaani. Can you please enlighten us on the nature of your work? And coming from PDRM, what would be considered as domestic abuse? And from your experience in PDRM, do you see a decline or increase in severity in cases of domestic abuse? Over to you, Madam Kogilavaani.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clear.
All right. A very good morning to all the participants, to the other panelists, Dr. Pei Li, and to the co-staff, Jamilah and Ahmad. Okay, thank you for having me here. Before we start, I would just like to say thank you to Puan Dorothy, who has been bold enough to be here, and then later on she's going to share. That is a very good spirit of you. All right. So before I move on, let me introduce a bit myself, what I'm doing in D11. Okay, my name is Puan Kogi, and I'm a registered counselor who've been placed in Sexual Women and Children D11 since 2014. So I've been a working experience of 7 years dealing with all kinds of sexual women and children cases. So I've had experience of working with more than 200 children and adults and in the various cases. Okay, maybe some or maybe almost doesn't really know that there are existence of counselors, because the counselors in D11. Maybe we know they are in social department, they have outsiders in the hospital, but very rare people to know that they we are here actually to give the services to all the victims who be coming to seek help to D11 actually. Okay, before that, I would like to introduce what is D11 all about. And so basically, sexual women and children, D11 are located in all contingents, all districts, and everywhere. Okay, and we are in the HQ. We call ourselves in a criminal investigation department. Okay, so we are working, there's a civilian and police officer are working together in this department. The civilians are us, where we are the counselors, and we have some administration officers. Okay, so basically there are 6 units involved in this department. We have a sexual unit, we have a children unit, we have a DVA, we have a MICAC, we have CIC and BCC. The terms I'll be explaining later. And we have advocacy and administration department, unit as well. So next slide, please. All right, this is the first unit, which is a sexual investigation unit, where mostly the cases on the sexuals that involve children and adults will be monitored under this section upon the classification. Okay, such as like a rape, incest, molest, unnatural sexual act, sexual harassment, whatever to do with sexual will be investigating under this unit. Okay, they are also responsible to gather all the data collection and to monitor the statistic. This statistic is very important for us because it is not only to keep track on the range of how are the victims, the perpetrators and everything, but eventually to us to do some research on why makes this thing happen and to prevent in the future as well. Okay, and also they do conduct talk on sexual crime awareness to all various ages. Every unit will does that. So this one particularly focus on the sexual units, like what is safe touch, non-safe touch for the preschoolers up to a level of agencies actually. Okay, and we, since based in the HQ, will monitor case of interest from time to time. By the way, case of interest, what we will say is that sometimes be highlighted and also be viral in media. Sometimes you need more, sometimes the cases will be not even like hidden. Yeah, there will be like monitor from case of interest. Okay, so next slide. Okay, next is the children investigation unit. This is particularly to investigate on children below 18 years old. Okay, 18 years old and below. Okay, I would never say 18 and below, but it should be like 18 below. I don't want people to misunderstand. Children are classified as 18 below, which means that they are supposed to be 17 months and 17 years old and 11 months. So that's considered our children. Okay, some people might be thinking like, my children are 17 years old. Are they children? Yes, they are category of children, not only until after 12 years old. Okay, so they also will be investigating on these children cases. Okay, most monitoring cases that involve on a child abuse, which was a sexual, physical, and emotional. So again, I'm telling it is not only to particular children, but children where they have gone through the sexual, physical, and emotional abuse, and also missing children. Okay, we also under the 11. It's not missing person, but it's a missing children, which is below 18. Okay, and then you're also responsible to gather the data collection and monitor the statistic as well as what I mentioned earlier. This is to monitor, okay, how many rising cases in children, because it is, if you see day by day, the cases are increasing in children as well. It's going up like, how to say, like a pandemic, like nobody's business, just going up. So that's why we need this to curb in future to see the pattern of this called the perpetrators behavior analysis. So what we can prevent, okay? And they also conduct on talk on the safety of children. This safety of children we have divided into so-called we have low primary, primary, and we have a secondary school as well, and even preschools. We go to school by schools by invitation, and so we take our initiative to go and teach them what is a safe touch, what is a non-safe touch, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. It is to curb all of them to have an understanding at a very young age. Okay, we have started, so that means even if you're 3 or 4 years old, you should be having the understanding like what is best for you, what is not best for you, everything. All right. And also we have a monitoring on children missing portal. Okay, this portal everybody can access. It is called in Malay portal Kana-Kana Hilang. Later I will share in the group chat. It's like K and K2. If let's say in case if you know a person is missing, you always can go there and see their pictures and provide information that you know if you have seen anywhere. This is really going to help out the children really missing to go back home to their families. Okay, and as say HQ will monitor case of interest from time to time. A recent case that you can see that a child was being, how to say, case B1, it's like unnatural sex they have done to the 9-month-old baby. Okay, that will be another case of interest that they will monitor as well. Okay. So next. Okay, this is a GVA, Domestic Violence Unit, okay, where they also investigate all kind of GVA cases where that involves a family, that is a children, adult, family members, and in a capitated adult, which means those who are not KU, there's no, they have that, ex-husband and ex-wife. So later we're going to explore more on the DVA. So this is just a rough one, okay? So they're responsible to gather the collection as well, data collection to monitor statistic. What are the, this is for that to understand the factors that lies, why does this DVA happens? What are the other factors could be, and it be one of the main and primary or secondary could involve in DVA. Okay, we also conduct the talk on DVA awareness to all, to women, yes, particularly for the women, particularly for the men, and we combine as well, even for the parents as well. So the same thing, HQ will monitor all these cases of interest from time to time. All right, next. All right, this is next is a MICAC. MICAC, it's next one. Next. Yes, exactly. Okay, MICAC investigation. I think maybe many of y'all doesn't know what is actually MICAC. Actually, it was just launched on year 2017. Okay, it was referring to Malaysian investigation crime against children. This is for us, especially on the sexual exploitation using a cyber, which means a media social, where the children will become the victim. And the perpetrator, it could be a victim, child as well, or even adult. So this MICAC is totally as a new one where they will be handling the cyber sexual cases related to children below 18 years old. Again, I'm saying it's for children below 18 years old. So even they involve, they also does the cyber sexual cases are done, but this is a perpetrator, suspects, to know what their activities going on. Based on that only, they can open up the file and do everything. Okay, the first level of investigation is always handled by the HQ, which means to getting all the informations, all sort of everything before they hand over the case to the IO, because the classification is very important before you really open up the case. And then we do conduct operational investigation here. We have a team, we have two teams. That one is a jury part and the other one operational. So if there's operation today, yes, the team will go down to go hunt and everybody. Okay, in this hunt, they will just go through the normal operational stages by looking at everything. Then they also do have a partnership with overseas agencies like the NACMAC, the IPCOPS, with the embassies to retrieve information. If let's say the perpetrator is not from local, but is from overseas, with the information we'll share with the MCMC as well. So they'll be retrieving a lot of information there. They do conduct talk on cyber sexual crime, which is on sexual exploitation, on grooming issue. How does this grooming, online grooming, being groomed, and victim has developed a lot actually. Okay, and they do have the statistics on the MICAC. All right, thank you. Okay, the next will be VCC and CIC. Okay. Next, please. Okay, this is the department that I'm placed actually. Okay, VCC refers to the Victim Care Center, and my brand name will be VCO, Victim Care Officers, because we are more to the victim. So our objective is that to attending to the victim to cope on the traumatic events. It is on the spot happening where they come in, we will entertain them. Providing conducive and therapeutic settings for the comfort of victim. We were asking on the basic needs as well. We will ask if you have anything to do. If we need this, we will provide. If they come in, we really provide them a conducive therapeutic for them. Okay, then giving the care protection to the victim according to their needs, what they want. If they want information to be provided, yes, we do provide. What are the channels that you need to go in? It depends on the case by case. If it's a sexual, it's a different way we handle it, PDA and other things. So we also assist the investigation officer, IO, to procurement of information from the victim using consultancy. For instance, there are certain things that the victim not able to convey because they might having like okay, I feel shy, and I feel down, and I know the emotion is not being blended well for me to explain about my pain that go through. Yes, we are there to help them. And then we are build networking with the agency as well. We work closely with all the agencies and NGOs, like NGOs, I would say UNICEF, WAO, we used to work together. All right, the next will be on CIC. This is also a very new, I mean, they might be hearing very new. What is CIC all about? Okay, CIC refers to the Child Interview Center. Okay, this is basically this idea was been, how to say, franchised from the UK setting where they already have this. So it was launched in 2003, earlier than there. So where we have located in all 15 states, including Bukit Aman. It's like a hidden place where the kids will be brought to this place as a victim to record their sessions, you know, to record the statements, to provide in there so that they don't need to go to the court to entertain, I mean, they don't need to attend to the court and get themselves scared or something. So they use this recording as to provide in the prosecution as an evidence. So the basic concept of CIC is that more child-friendly policing. So the police officers will, you can see they are like in a uniform, they'll be like more like us, like normal, I mean with us, so the attire looks like, okay, wow, okay, I'm in a safe zone, you know, to have that kind of warm feeling with the child. And then the conduct interview section within below 16. Okay, this is particularly below 16. This is, there is an act, it's only below 16. Please don't ask me why it's above 18. I need to ask them why is that the law says so. Okay, actually this is below 16 years old and over those or even disabled child. If let's say the child is very fluent and by 12 years old, she can give a lot of things, yet there are some requested to do a video recording as well. So the interview conducted by the police officers who attended a CIC course, then is certified as an interview. You can't simply go in, you have been trained as well. You have the certificate, then only you are paid. That is a proper way for you because the question and techniques are really, how to say, are very keen and very focusing. Okay, there are two police officers involved. One will be the interviewer and the other one technical officer. So we as a VCO play to reduce the trauma there. Before they go in, we get them ready. Okay, you're ready and I hope you can do your best. Okay, don't be scared. We will give them a motivation to like be positive and you want to get justice. Okay, go ahead. You know, sometimes they say no, but once after they've done everything, then once they come out, we also give them a support services. So this doesn't hang here. So you continue. All right, and the very final unit is the administration unit. Okay, this is our main administration unit to handling all the documentations related to my department. And they work closely with our head unit. The very head is called G1. Okay, they have it. And then competency courses, police officers, civilians, they will see which is the best match and everything. And also, of course, the filing system. All right, all right. So this is basically about the D11. So I hope everybody have get a brief, how to say, just a glance through of what D11 is all about. So now with that, I'll be going into the questions that have been posted by Jamilah. All right, yeah. When you ask about, say, domestic abuse, okay. From my experience, when you say domestic abuse as we classify, it's an abuse where it involves physical, sexual, emotional, and where they have how to say, it's a physical and non-physical as well, where it covers on GVA, sexual, and also children, meaning it's overall. All right, that's called on the domestic abuse because I'm not focusing on DVA only, but I'm focusing on abuse. This is what we have. So when it comes to my experience working with the D11, I have, as I said, 7 years of experience handling this case. I would say the case, I would never say it is raised or it have declined. It has been, how to say, it's a consistent actually, okay? But just during the pandemic, yes, we can see a slight changes for everybody's acknowledgement. There's a slight changes where they have a drop of 5% compared to the case on 2020 and 2019 and 2020, I would say. But we are in a pandemic crisis on 2020, right? So with that and also 2019, we can see there's a slight decrease in 5% only. 5% only, yeah, not much. Okay, this is because why? okay, first of all, when I say domestic violence, the DVA, actually domestic violence, it involves husband, wife, ex-husband, ex-wife. So the case has increased is due to, you can see, when the ex-husband and an ex-wife doesn't meet. Maybe you'll be understanding how come this very related. Okay, let me give you an example. When this ex-husband and this ex-wife doesn't meet, the case is reduced because they have less eye contact, less of physical contact over there. That means that they don't become the victim and a victim again. So this pandemic has really put a little bit full stop for them to have like no contact. You have very less contact because you have a roadblocks. You can't even go here to there. Here. I mean, you know, to find a way to go and really to find fault on your partners actually. That will be another source. I mean, that's the first source. Okay. Another reason for this drop-off case is that because you are being stayed in one family. And let's say the abuse happens. Of course, it's very rare to have the abuse happens when you stayed bound in one family actually. All right. That means the environment of family has tightened to less than DVA cases compared to if you don't stay together. Okay. Like for instance, when say family members, in terms of family members, yes, when they have an extended family, uncle, aunties, and also sisters and everybody, yes, this is all called under the, what do you call that, DVA, which means sitting on the same roof, they are being classified as a DVA. Let's say they are bound in one family and there are less chances for them to commit or the offense actually by reality. Because you have been like trapped. Okay, I know what is happening. Because some people doesn't know what's happening when you are bound together. They would like to do a secretive actually. Yeah, and this is the thing. All right. That will be the basic on understanding what is actually domestic violence from the law perspective. All right. So I guess maybe Dr. Pei Li would want to add in more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, Madam Kogila, I think that's a very good start when you give a sneak preview of what's happening in the organization, in the police department, in terms of how to handle the cases that it's coming. So we have the different sections coming up, and it's also heartening to say that there's a slight drop. But again, we are not out of the wood because people are still either being physically or emotionally abused, and strangely enough by their partners. So Dr. Yeo, now, you have been encountered with so many cases in the past. Tell us now, can we spot any sign or anything that would lead to this domestic abuse, so that then if we can see it, the signal, then there's a flashing light so that then we can be aware then. Please enlighten us on the matter. Over to you.
Yeah, Kogila definitely has given us a very comprehensive definition, and she talked about, you know, physical, non-physical. I would like to just also share some slides with you with regard, the signs of abuse. Yeah. So when it comes to physical abuse, it is like a continuum. Yeah. When you think about relationship, when you get married, you don't want to go into a marriage with, you know, being beaten up by your husband. Yeah. So one of the signs is really to listen to your own self and listen to your own heart, your own intuition. Is this right? Is this the relationship that I sign myself into? All right. So initially, you know, of course, you know, couple conflict is normal. But when it gets into physical fight and then it gets too frequent and it gets too many rounds, you may want to question. Yeah. So some of the signs would be like, you know, initially scratch, deny physical needs, slap, but you can just look at this continuous. There's so many signs here. It says that sometimes we talk ourselves out of it. Yeah. Because in the name of love, yeah, he will change. Things will be different. He's very remorseful. Yeah. In terms of emotional signs, yeah, so it's important that you recognize you are a person that is worth to be respected. So if your partner or anyone per se, yeah, is using you as a sex object, you know, using it as a joke object, that's not nice, right? So we ourselves need to give ourselves dignity, and we ourselves need to be able to stand up for ourselves and say stop, right? So if you look at this, yeah, even silent treatment, it is an emotional abuse. Yeah, I just had cases where, you know, husband can, I mean, a couple, they can handle, you know, conversation, fight, argument, but not silent treatment. Yeah, because sometimes silent treatment can last for weeks. Yeah, and that's really very hard to bear when you're in the same house and you're next to each other every night. Yeah, so we can see sometimes we displace our pain to harming pets. Yeah, and then we degrade the other person. As long as you recognize something is not right, you're not happy, something is just not right in you. Yeah, listen to yourself first. Sexual abuse is very obvious. Yeah, it can be from verbal, like making embarrassing comments, ignore your sexual needs. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, because you didn't treat me well, so therefore I withhold my your need for sex. And then the next thing, it escalates to another level, which is you are being raped. Yeah, so one thing will lead to another. Yeah, when there's no respect, when there's no respect, you know, when one party needs control over the other. Yeah, so this is some of the signs of sexual abuse. Yeah. We also have got social and environment abuse. Yeah. We somehow use threat, you know, financial threat. Yeah, if you don't do this, you know, I will cut your allowance, stuff like that. Oh, I don't allow you to get in contact with any of your friends. Yeah, you are supposed to just stay at home and take care of your kids. Yeah. So all this initially, maybe you think, yeah, maybe I should be a submissive wife, obedient wife, but over time you lost your own social network, you lose yourself. Yeah, and you wonder why you are living for. To the point where, you know, without him, you felt that you are not worthy, and then there's a creation of dependency on so-called the perpetrator or the abuser. Yeah. Now, this is something that is nobody talk about. I'm just going to take some risks here about spiritual and religious abuse. Sometimes in the name of God, in the name of obedience, submission, yeah, we also experience spiritual abuse. Yeah, and that's where, you know, you know, sometimes we also run away with spirituality. Like, you know, you have got all the activities in your religious organization that you don't stay at home, that you are not at home with your partner, and when you came back, your partner is not happy with it, and your partner will abuse you, make remarks, yeah, all sorts, yeah, of abuse out there. So these are some of the common signs, yeah, that I would like to share.
Thank you, Dr. Pei Li. I think you give some very good explanation about the signs and symptoms of domestic abuse. Now, Puan Kogi, can you tell us about the cycle of abuse and consequences of domestic abuse to help us understand the short-term and the long-term impact of abuse? Over to you.
All right. Okay. What Dr. Pei Li said is really exactly happens. That's what I also face here when the clients walk in here. So when we see about the cycle, it is always depends on the individual itself, because there's no time frame for that particular individual. Actually, I would say that, because sometimes when I will share certain cases, how does really the victims comes in, and what has happened to them, and how do, you know, suddenly they make a U-turn. It might be like a question like, how come it's a U-turn? Okay, what I mean is here is that the domestic violence has been going on for many years, let's say, happening like victim. They have been going in so many times with it. They feel that, okay, I should not go against, because they will be looking into their child, for themselves, and, you know, all this with them. So all this impact at one point, when they can't take it, that's where they burst out. They launched the police report. They dare themselves to launch a police report. So where after, upon launching a police report, when they come in here, we saw them and we provide all the counseling and the therapies, and we help them out. And thereafter, I also experienced this kind of cases where after 2 days, they said, I think I have patched back with my husband. You're like, all right, okay. So this would be the one of the case that I would like to share, because why? You are putting yourself, you are giving yourself again, how to say, a chance. So that's why I say the cycle of abuse, it is not determined by the time frame actually. You might be suffering for many years, and because at one point when your husband or ex-husband like giving you a hope actually, okay, give me a chance and I will do better. You know, the chance is going on and going on and going on, and the wife is like, okay, I will give. And that's where when the wife is like trusting, the trustworthiness in the relationship, and she's pouring out to them, then they will drop the case. And after that, after a while, you know, 1 week, I will be receiving a call again. Can I come and see you? I'm in dilemma. Okay, fine. So at this point, we really will make that the victim to realize that this is going to make you to have a long term where you're going to suffer from some sort of psychological or emotional problem, where when they come in, they will be saying that I'm depressed and I'm trying to protect that. That's why I say. So the short term or long term, it is always depends on the cycle. As I told you, sometimes they agree to do this, but then they say, okay, because of this kind of promises, these are one of the few case studies that I have gone through. Okay, so when they happen, so we will explain to them, okay, ma'am, or the victim could be the man or a female. So we say, okay, you should understand basically overall, it is not it is too abstract, and you should make a wise decision so that you will never be trapped putting yourself as a blame again and again and put yourself into trauma which you have. So once you make a decision, I know that the consequences upon launching a report and coming out, it is not easy to tackle, because you'll be called as a single mother or a single parent. Okay, so when they have to see all these steps, what are they going to go through? So therefore, we will say, that's why we say, we will ask, do you have any other support family members? We will check on them as well. If there are, yes, we'll contact them and okay, where do you supposed to, place yourself and everything. So the cycle will be going on and going on as of the case is open up. So once the case is open up, let's say the wife is agreed, yes, I want to proceed with a very confirmed and firm decision by the victim. Until that, the cycle will be going on. When it comes to end, where they call divorce, that's the end of the part. Another cycle will coming in as we become an ex-wife and ex-husband. This is another cycle, another DVA, but this is more towards emotional, not by physical, but it's true emotional, where the children will be coming in actually. So this is a cycle actually. So there's no time frame. So it will be short from the long term, or either can be finished in the short term as well. I would say the victims sometimes like to sacrifice themselves a lot.
Puan Kogila, it's really draining all the parties. And as you were describing, you could see how this is like a roller coaster tug of war emotionally.
Yes.
And it's because, they are caught in the dilemma in terms of reputation, in terms of the implication, family, name, and lots of things. And I think this is where, Dr. Pei Li, the situation will arise that, as you were describing, when I was looking at all the emotional, sexual, social abuse, and you outline one by one, you could see more than 50 different possible signs. And when Madam talks about people hanging on there, hoping that there will be light in the tunnel and continue to be subjected to this violence emotionally and physically, do you think that there is a way that the victim can get out? How long should they undergo? What can we help these people who feel that they are trapped in this? They are now the silent victim. Over to you then, Doc.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's really to educate them so that they are aware what's going on in the whole situation. Now, research has shown that, by the time they decided that they want out of this relationship, and as Puan Kogila was saying, they lodge a report, then they withdraw, they lodge again, they withdraw, then they make up, they lodge and then make up. It is like go round and round and round, easily 7 times of leaving the house before the final one. Now, the soonest is 7 times, and the longest can be 30 times of in and out of that relationship for X number of years, right? Before they can make a decision. Now, I would like to also share, this chat with you. Yeah, there is basically 4 phases in domestic violence. First, of course, you are in love with one another. Everything is fine. Everything is calm. And the next thing things happen. Nobody again get married, wanting to be abused. Yeah, things happen, and then tension builds up, stress builds up, and some of us, we are not able to take stress very well. Yeah, or we don't know how to really deal with conflict, and we begin to hit one another. So that's where the tension and then the incident happened, right? The blow up. And then upon blowing up, because we really love each other, and the perpetrator or the abuser will apologize, and if he's really remorseful and you can feel that he's really very sorry, it's more of like, he cannot take it, or he would say that, I cannot control myself, I cannot control my emotion. So that's where they make up, and then things become calm again after the reconciliation. Then they went through another honeymoon phase, only to know, because they did not have any extra information to do relationship differently, the same pattern happened. And when tension builds up, it just take one trigger, and that's it, another episode happened. And that's where they fight, lodge a report. And then, when the husband or the wife, I just want to be fair. It's not just the woman who get abused, the man also getting abused here. Where, one of them will apologize. And that's where, again, the reconciliation, the makeup, the honeymoon, only to know another episode comes. So to stop the cycle, the one being abused, again, you need to be very mindful about this cycle, and you have to make a decision within yourself. Is this what you want to be in? Yeah, is this the kind of relationship that you're in? But having said that, first thing first, your safety, your children's safety. Yeah, don't compromise that.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I think that is a very, very timely and timeless reminder, because safety comes first. And this is paramount, especially when it comes to cases of domestic abuse. My next question to Puan Kogi is that, what would your advice be to those who are perpetrators in domestic abuse, the abusers themselves?
All right. Okay.
I want to show the...
So basically, thank you for the questions. Okay. So before I suggest the tips or kind of advice, so let me share maybe 2 to 3 cases, so that audience here can get some ideas that actually are they really going through the abuse right now? Perhaps it could help them to identify if they are going through that. So when I say abuse here, it doesn't mean only through physical, but eventually through your speaking, your words as well would trigger, like what Dr. Pei Li have shared, right? So like one of the cases that I've handled is that when the couples who comes in, when only the victim comes in without making a larger report, and comes, she says that, okay, I'm going through this problem and I feel that it's difficult for me to handle out, because I can't further, I kind of blunt, I don't know what to do because I'm having a kid right now. So, how could you really help me out in that way? So I was asking her, rather than I make a decision, I want you to understand, are you in a way, are you really in a cycle of getting abused now? Identify what kind of abuse that you are going through right now. So that's why she knows, okay, I'm going through what kind of abuse, because she was thinking that just by hitting up is an abuse, but are you going through any other abuses? So when she recognized the abuses, like, no, I'm not only been beaten up, but I will be like emotionally hurt, with the activities that been, solemnly showed on me. Like for typical things, for instance, that whatever we read through the daily reports, like, for instance, when our husband comes in, this is a sharing case of, when a husband says they're making a coffee to them, suddenly the husband says, oh, this coffee is not nice. She's ready to throw it on your face. It's an abuse as well. I mean, you're provoking the situation. So it happens all that. So when this kind of things happens, we will explain, are you going through all this? Oh, yes, I'm going through a physical, I'm going through emotional, and I'm going through violent as well. Not only me, but the children. Okay, yes, this is another one. The impact goes to the children. So once we have identified, we will fully explain, okay, what? So we will ask, do you have, like I say, support system? And what will be your next decision? Are you here? Okay, and after explaining everything on the law part and everything, okay, are you ready? Are you ready to go through this, or do you want to launch your report? Because normally we encourage them to launch. We will never say that, oh, you're supposed to launch a report. No, you know already you're in a trauma. You want to escape from that. You don't want to give a chance for you to be inside. So when they come over, they will say, okay, when you're ready to launch a report, okay, they will go on. So once they go on, I have the chance to meet the perpetrator as well. This is where I will take a chance to meet them, to call out, because I can't be saying that I was listening to one part only. So I need to listen to another part. So when I come in to listen to the perpetrator, from the perpetrator's side, what I have listened is that this is something the real that I would like to share. It is not, how to say, they are also a kind of pittiness are there for them, because no one listens to them actually. Because the moment, yeah, of course, because the violence comes from them, because they are very strong. Women are so, very small. Yeah, so for the men to control the anger, the only thing is that they just touch them, because no one listens to them. First of all, they also have something to ponder out. The triggers happen. You always say to me, one of the abusers have said to me is that when I try to talk, no, the other side is, oh, they'd be like, fighting like a duck and chicken, like, okay, I'm telling, and you are never giving a way to me to explain and putting a conclusion. That triggers the abuser to violent up. So this kind of things that I heard, okay, fine, but what is the point you are using a violence where you can still talk? No, because I can't tolerate my wife is talking like that. She's too much. Sometimes they say. Another thing is that a victim also will love to, to publicize about whatever happens to them, which provokes the abuser to be more aggressive in a way. So these are the things that have triggers the abuser to be there. So if you ask me the tips for the abuser, it is to we will normally say, okay, maybe you have to go through, certain times we have to identify the anger part. What makes you to trigger without thinking? Maybe you can have a talk, you can go to attend the counseling section. You really need people, talk to someone. I know it is difficult because you're using physical, but you need emotional side in a way. He said, even they try to go to the first, definitely they will defend. They will say, no, I don't need this section. I mean, because I think she's, it's going to not do makeup and everything, but we always will say to them, no, give a try for yourself to go for a section so that you can express yourself more in better way, and will put people to understand what exactly you're going through and why you become the abuser and you become the perpetrator. Okay, to understand the situation. So mainly we will tell this because it's very less also to me to meet up with the perpetrator, because I'm more meeting up on the victim side. So when I see this contradict, saying that, oh yeah, both of them is how to say, it is actually a balanced thing also sometimes. Okay, maybe, but in certain way, it is wrong due to the social activist for the perpetrator. When they're too much involved in the activists, there's another cause as well. So for me, to get a tips, it's just that you have to break your emotional part to go out and get some help, actually, to tell about what are you going through and why you have been classified yourself as an abuser, actually. Maybe Dr. Pei Li would like to add on.
Yeah, I think what Puan Kogila has already highlighted is that people do come to courage enough to then come forward because they cannot tahan anymore. So at this juncture, I think it's good that we raise awareness to the audience on some of those who are unable to come forward. And I think globally, WHO has already recognized this, and therefore there is a methodology or rather sign that you can use. So before we move to the solutions that maybe Dr. Yeo and also Puan can also enlighten, maybe we watch this very quick 1-minute video so that then to help others who are in trouble, this is what they can do if they cannot pluck their courage to come forward. So this is a video that is being shown, and you could see.
Can you share that banana bread recipe?
This is the person.
It's actually my mom's banana bread recipe, but it's pretty foolproof. It's super easy. Well, I really appreciate it. I know your mom's a great baker, so it should be good.
So that lady was asking about banana recipe, but the underlying reason is she is showing the sign.
Oh, can you share that banana bread recipe?
Oh, sorry. To show the sign that I am trapped. So I think I didn't know about that, and I wish out there, this is, if you are mute, deaf, you cannot say anything, no digital trace by typing or doing things. So I think we are now in the stage of lending our support. And probably now, Dr. Yeo, again, we want to switch gear now, so that then we wanted to know what exactly, how can we help this victim now? Some at the early stage, some already in the deep in the trenches, while others, well, hopefully it's not too late before things goes really escalated worse. Then, Dr. Yeo, help us now.
Okay, so can I just respond or add on to what Mrs.
Yes, please, please.
Because I think I also saw a question here about perpetrator also needs help. Yeah, how can we help them? Now, I would like to probably from my own experience, sometimes the perpetrator, they don't even know that they are abusing, because they say, I'm just using what I've been brought up, you know, the way my parents discipline me, I'm just using that to discipline my kids, or I'm just seeing how my parents fight and I'm using it, you know, with my wife or with my husband. Yeah, so sometimes they are not very aware about that. But that's not an excuse, yeah. And also we do have husbands who are very aware, they don't like it, but somehow they are trapped in that cycle as mentioned. Yeah, so when we trace back, yeah, a reason for abuse, yeah, probably there are some mental illness, some condition, maybe they get easily, you know, work out very, very easily anxious. That's why, you know, I cannot take it anymore when my wife, you know, raise his voice or her voice. Yeah, sometimes, you know, to us, when somebody raise their voice is okay. But if you have got a situation, all right, mentally, or you have got some childhood trauma, that voice will remind you of something else. Yeah, and that's where it gets overwhelming, and that's why they just need to slap or they just need to hit to end that conversation or to end that episode so that they can have a peace of mind. All right, so most likely they would have been a victim themselves, experiencing domestic violence in childhood, could be our poverty, yeah, or being neglected in childhood. Yeah, so there are multiple reasons. Okay, so children who grow up in violent home have a 74% likelihood of committing criminal assault. Yeah, and then 1% of violent children have witnessed violence between their parents. So we want to say it's a learned behavior. So technically, if you want to help them, they need to know that their situation is not appropriate, and they themselves want to seek help. And I would say go for professional intervention. Yeah, to help them with their childhood trauma, that would be good. Yeah, but then it it can be quite tricky. Yeah, the success rate may not be very high. Yeah, but the person should not give up. Yeah, and continue to just go for your own treatment. Yeah, and what your question about how to help those who have been abused, right? Yeah, so first thing first is safety comes first. If at all you feel that you are trapped, you are stuck, make sure you inform somebody. Don't suffer in silence, because that's one of the things that the perpetrator the abuser will tell you. Don't tell anyone else, all right? Because sometimes it could also be, to protect the image, the reputation, especially if you're a high profile person. Yeah. So, you need to gauge, if safety is at stake, please, take care of yourself. But as a counselor, when I have like domestic violence cases, people would say, why don't you immediately report, or why don't you immediately rescue her out? It's not as easy as it is. We need to plan, we need to strategize, because, you never know the abuser's connection. Yeah, one of my wife, as much as she wants to leave, she really think that she cannot, because he has got all his bodyguard around, all his minions around, and there's no way she can escape. Yeah. So in my session with her, we basically, just do a lot of empowering work with her until she finally, have all the plans sorted out. One of it is also, to get an emergency bag packed. Yeah, so what is in the emergency pack will be your passport, your IC, some money. Even if you want, you can even have some clothes, or some change. Some you can pass it, some you can keep it somewhere handy, so that if another episode happens, you can just grab and run. The other one is to probably some of the clothing, money, you can give it to a trusted neighbor to keep it, so that you are free-handed, and then when you run, you can run to a safe place. Yeah, that is the quick intervention. Yeah, if it happened. Yeah, that's what I would say for now.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yeo. From what I gather, those tips are very practical, and we can easily put things in a bag and perhaps, inform our neighbors. But I do believe that the toughest thing to do is to overcome that mental and emotional barrier. So what would your advice be, if you could advise us, Tuan Kogi, on what a victim of domestic abuse should think about, before they actually decide to leave? I think that's the biggest hurdle, the mental and emotional hurdle.
Yes, yeah. And before I to share that the challenges they might go through before and after, I'll just add on Dr. Pei Li's little informations that I totally agree when Dr. Pei Li says that the needed documents are very important for you, like your IC, your children's passport, or whatever. That is the main thing that you should be secured, to secure the clothes, because it's not easy to run out to get a help. Because one of the cases that I would like to share is that this is between, I would say, a parent and also the abuser is the husband, and this victim have trapped. So there's a triangle, all right? I'll give an example, okay, whereby the father has no idea how to help out this victim actually, because she's been trapped totally without, the abuser have grabbed the handphone, no chances for her to go out because it has been locked. Whenever he wants to go, he locked, and all this stuff, because there's no kid. Actually, there's no kid involved, maybe they only them. All right. So it's all he locked, and she's been like, whatever you need, I will provide. So she has no idea how to escape. At one point, she has the, enlightened, where she has come through to passerby, to shout out that, to just show up that I need some help. So immediately this passerby went to launch a report, and to report to the police, just saying that I saw this kind of incident, but to just confirm that, is there something go on? Please go and check. Yes, passerbys has the 100% of how to say authority to go and launch a report to seek help, actually to help them out. Don't just like if something happened, don't. You just can go. Whether it is true or don't, you don't need to be worried. The police will come and check actually. So immediately the MPV will go on and check. At that point, they rescued her. They really rescued her and saying that, yeah, the abuser can't do anything. Perhaps maybe at the very first point of this case, she was acted out that nothing happened because she's so worried. She will lose everything, which means if she goes out of the house seeking help, she's going to lose whatever the shelter that she has, the contact that she has, no family support, you know, everything, the basic needs and everything. So at the very beginning of the case, she was like pretending herself, nothing happened. So I'm totally fine, you know, like that. So the police said, oh, okay, I'm just coming to check and everything. It's okay. Thereafter, she was being heated up and everything again. So she was so afraid. But now when she get the idea, oh, okay, when I do this, the police came in. So I have the trust that somebody has came in to help me. She tried the second time after a couple of weeks, she been rescued, totally been rescued out from the thing, whereby the NGOs safeguard her and then do the process and everything, help her out, saying on the procedures, okay, what are the things that you need, because you already leave your house, okay? You left the house at that point where you need the shelter. Basically, you need financial wise, you need to be stable enough because you need to support yourself as well, especially for those who are having kids. It is not easy because you need to think about how do you want to feed them, because your soul, if the wife, if the victim is not working, is totally dependent on the abuser. So they have to think about the financial issue as well. The third one is that the safety of them, whether they will be safe, they will be safe. Like what Dr. Pei Li mentioned, go to the person who you trust most. It could be anyone, okay? You have to think about that as well before you leave, all right? So upon all this, if let's say you decided to leave, another factors that you have to see is that, is there any social support for you? This is after upon leaving that relationship. That means, are you able to ready to accept the criticism that you're going to receive surroundings? Because why? It is not easy. When let's say it happens typically because we Malaysians are more family oriented. We are not more open, you know, we are quite shy as well. We have that embarrassment moment in ourselves. So the criticism as a victim, how do they really accept it? Are they feel that, okay, it's okay, I can accept because this is me. It is solely about me rather than putting myself into what public going to say, I don't care. But there are some victims who really, I would say, perhaps the victim who comes in, the 70% of them are so bothered about what the society is going to say if you leave the house. When you're going through, you know, you're going through, like how to say, you're going through a hell, man, in that house actually. But you're so bothered what other people are going to say. No, safeguard yourself. We always say, are you able to accept the criticism to leave? Yes. Yes, you have the guts. I would always say to the victim, first of all, I would say, I highly appreciate that you can take a wise decision to step out. That is your first decision. You're very bold enough to make a stand on yourself. Upon that, then the next is that, are you ready to accept the challenges outside world and inside world, which means your family support system? I will tell you that not every victim getting the support from the family. It's very sad to hear. Seriously, I can see some of them say, oh, you are wrong. Why you leave your husband? Then where you want to stay? You know, this kind of mentalities are there. But yet there are some who say, no, we can support. The parents who still with that age table. Normally the parents who walk in with the child who having a DA, it is very sad. They say, no, I can support my daughter or my son. You know, the parents are there. So your family, when you're leaving to decide that the family is there. Then your financial wise, are you ready to, you know, to serve food enough for your kids and yourself? You must get to know all that. Thereafter, a place for you. Then a work or something to make sure you can run a life again from the cycle actually, which means from emotional trauma. Are you ready to accept it? And then, to come out from the trauma? It is not easy, I would say. It is really the impact will make them to feel. And the second is that, the last one, you're going to tell openly to your child, if you have, that what has happened. And now we are in this cycle of phase of life, whereby the challenges and emotional acceptance in the kids saying that, okay, now my parents are no more staying together. The acceptance in the children, the victim should also be shared with them, because if not, the children wouldn't be doing it. I want to still go to the father, because they're still kids. They really need this too. Whenever the victim comes in with a child, when we take away to separate to, the two sections, the children always says, I want my father, I want my mother. I'm very sad to hear sometimes they say, but they don't understand actually, because you are not explaining well actually to the kids that you're not in a state of, we are going to get back together, this, but eventually you still have your father. That is what they fail to explain. So we will tell the victim that even though as an husband-wife, you cut off with the relationship, there is no status, but the child still has rights to go to both. So in that, the wife should be agreed. Even she leaves, she should be agreed that even his abuser, she must ready to, when they have a child, certainly they have to send her. So this kind of a little here and there, that's what the victim should be knowing and after they leave. So maybe Dr. Baby could be
Yeah, so my experience with teenagers, the millennials or the Z generation, because of the exposure, they are the one that would want their mother to leave the husband or to leave the father.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting as they grow up, because they know it's not right. Something is not right there. Now again, I'm seeing some question. I would like to also respond at the same time.
Before we switch to the question, Dr. Pei, I'm very conscious about the incoming questions.
Sure.
I wanted us to take this as a bridging, because we had one of the participants who has openly volunteered to share what went through her. It's brave, and I certainly felt that for the benefit of the others, maybe I know marriage is supposed to be made in heaven, but now it has become hell in this world. And the challenge is with Jamilah's question of how the mental block, and it becomes a mental torture and torment and debate of getting out from this hell is a big implication. So I'd like to call Madam Dorothy to, if you don't mind, to give us some your tips. How do you manage to do that briefly? And then we'll take on the panelists to respond to all the written questions as much as we can, so that then we have a good understanding of the issue. Is that okay, Doctor? Is that okay, panelists? Yeah, we move on now. Madam Dorothy, you are on the spotlight.
Yes.
Help us.
Yes, good afternoon to all ladies and gentlemen. I will try to make my talk as brief as possible, but to the point, and to how I finally decided to end it all. Well, I met a wonderful, perfect gentleman 34 years ago. It was so perfect and wonderful. So everybody advised me to marry him. And I thought that, well, I was so lucky to get such a wonderful man. So we went to a wedding, and about 1 week or 2 weeks after the wedding, I saw that I had married somebody, a monster, whom I couldn't recognize. So I tolerated it for a few months, and then I went to see my parents and told my parents that I want to divorce. And my parents said, no, we are very traditional, Nonya Baba people. We do not divorce. You make your choice. You just have to tolerate. So I was a very hardworking woman. I had a very successful career. He stopped working. He stopped working totally. He doesn't want to work. So I had a full-time job, and I had to take on several other jobs as a secretary to support the whole family, him, me, and our child, a daughter. He did nothing financially to support the family. He went around womanizing and he abused me. It was severe abuse because he threw items at me. He used weapons to hack me dead. He used a tarang knife to try to chop me. Several times, he threw heavy items at me like the standing fan. He poked a knife at my throat, ready to push it in anytime. Yeah, he kicked me. He punched me unconscious and left me for dead. But I didn't die. I regained consciousness after a few hours. And I called the police, and the police took me to police station, police headquarters, and hospital, and all that. I was hospitalized. He didn't bother about me. And when I came home, he was just sitting in the living room, not bothering. And when the police came to see him and all that, he was so charming to the police that he managed to charm all the police away and make the police believe that I am suffering from insanity, that I was gila, and not to take anything I say seriously. I'm just simply mad. He was so charming to them, and they went away. They looked at me and they all shook their head. Dear ladies and gentlemen, just imagine how I felt. I was so severely abused, and he managed to charm all the police away. So this went on. This went on for about 20 over years, and finally, I couldn't take it anymore. So I went through a legal separation with him. And it was done by a proper lawyer, stand in court and all that. After the legal separation, he was not supposed to abuse me anymore, but the abuse continued until about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The final blow was that he said he wanted to murder me and burn my house down, including all my neighbor houses. So I had no choice but to go to the police station again, which has always been charmed by him and condemned me as a gila woman. I went to them again, and when I told them that he wants to burn down the whole row of houses, they took it very seriously, burning down the whole row of houses. So I was forwarded to police headquarters, and he was arrested by the police, and he was put in locked up for many days. But I had no succeed, no witness. So he couldn't be put in jail. So he was given warning by the police and he was allowed to come home. Of course, I was horribly and terribly frightened when he came home, knowing that he must be very angry because I put him in lockup. I do not know what's going to happen to me when I come home, but I stayed bold and courageous, but my whole body was shaking inside. He could just give me one punch, jab one knife into me, and that's it. But I know that I have to be brave. Even if I have to die, I got to do it. So before he came out of lockup, I was informed that he's coming home. I quickly went to rent another house, and then he came back, and the police rang me before he was allowed home, told me that he was warned very seriously. So I was all prepared. When he came home, he said, "Oh, thank you to you. Oh, I was put in jail." And I said, "God forgive you. God forgive you for everything you have done." That's all I said to him. So I am shifting out. I hope by next week, my new house will be ready. And I've already started legal proceedings, divorce proceedings with him. This present house that I'm in now, I'm still in the old house because the new house is not ready yet. So I'm going to a divorce proceeding, sell this house, divide the money between him and myself. And I hope that I do not ever have to see him again. But I had no one in this world. No one, and I do not have, my parents are dead, my only sibling is dead. I do not have any relative in Ipoh. I was all alone. I had to handle it all alone, but I have my faith, you see. I believe in God. So all the while I kept praying through my crisis, and I remained strong. So the divorce proceeding has started. and I'm shifting out of this house hopefully by next week. So I think I've taken the right actions, and I'm freeing. I'm setting myself free from him. I do not care about what other people are going to say about me. I'm not frightened about gossips or judgments by other people. I know that he will talk bad about me as usual, go around everywhere saying that I'm gila. It doesn't bother me. What is most important to me is that I'm going to be safe. And when I'm safe, I'm going to feel very peaceful. And when I have peace, happiness will follow. I'm a very old lady. I'm 67 years old. I do not know how many years I have left, but whatever how many years, I think I deserve to have some peace and happiness in my life. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Madam Dorothy. We are glad that you are still alive to tell this story, because
you can still see me smiling. And I'm not crying.
I think that's the positive spirit that we will applaud, certainly learn from your courage. Although it took you 20 years, because I knew many people.
34 years. 34 years.
Yes, 34 years too late. And
long enough to walk out.
Yeah, because, you know, otherwise you may be battered and broken arms and limbs. I think let's all take...
beheaded.
Okay. God forbid, then God loves us, and hopefully we will continue to sustain and survive. I think this is where the point I wanted to highlight, that even in professionals, you could see some engineers or medical doctors, they face this kind of issues and they feel bad because, especially for doctors, you got to help the person rather than send the person away. So I think I want to switch over now. When Dr. Pei Li then highlighted, there were some questions. So because with the remaining hours, we want to allow the panelists to respond to the questions, and you can pick and choose which one so that then we can be very succinct and sharp to help out the participants.
Yeah, so Miss Dorothy, I really appreciate, you know, that you come forward and share your story, because that was exactly what Jamilah's question was, you know, how to help the people to come out of it. Yeah, so if you don't mind.
Yeah, first, you have to make up your mind that you do not want to live this way anymore. No one has the right to beat us up. No one has the right to tell us that I was told that I'm a very ugly, worthless. Wow, when he sees me, he feels like vomiting. Well, I know I'm not that ugly. I need self-respect. I do not wish to live a life being beaten up by a man. All right. I want to be happy just as anybody else. So I think first of all, we have to make that decision.
So can I ask why 34 years?
Yeah.
Why 34 years?
34 years? Because I forgave him. By forgiving him, because of course I love him. Otherwise, I would not have married him. I love him, so I forgive him. By forgiving him, I was giving him a passport to keep on attacking me. All right. When you forgive an attacker, you are giving him a green light, a passport which says that, oh, you can come and attack me and it's all right with me. So that happened to me. I kept forgiving and he kept attacking. Yeah.
So Miss Dorothy, how do you know this is final?
Oh, because the legal proceedings have already started. My new house is being prepared. The workers are working on it and I'm shifting out by the middle of next week. Yeah, but I tell you, I had to be very brave. I look brave on the outside, but I was shaking on the inside. And I'm in the medical line, actually. So I took a couple of tranquilizers to calm myself down, to go through it all. Yeah, I took a leap of faith. I told myself, I have to free myself. If I have to die in trying to free myself, then let me die. But how many years I have left? I'm going to live in peace and happiness, I say. even if I have to die, taking this big leap of faith, I say.
That's right.
It was a risk I took. I was willing to die for the risk I took.
Yeah.
To free myself.
Thanks, Dorothy. Yeah, so that's exactly, you know, unless the one being abused wants to come out of it, it's very hard for us to persuade them. They have to make that decision. And also that's why in counseling the initial part is really to empower them, to make them feel strong and that they are ready to face the challenge, because there'll be different type of music that they'll be facing after they make that decision, right? So it's not as easy as it is. So with that, to respond to the question about the religious abuse or that stuff, you know, we have been fighting for stopping domestic violence for so many years and we are still not very successful. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking probably we only focus on 50% of the population. Yeah. We only help and focus on the children and the women. We forgot to look at the perpetrator. Yeah, men in general, as of right now, I'm not trying to by being biased. I'm just saying it for easy reference. Yeah, so probably because it takes two hands to clap, maybe it's also about time to involve the men, to educate the men about what is right, what is not right, so that they are aware. Because we are from a society that's very patriarchal, you know, and then we get passed down how our forefather behave, and we thought this is really normal in our family system. So it's very intergenerational, right? So in order to respond to the earlier question, what about us educating the men? You know, we do public talk and engage the men. Then the challenge, of course, you know, let's look at this group here. How many of us are male? If you are male, you can put out your digital hand. Yeah, how to get them coming, you know, and then spread the word for us and with us. Yeah, only 2 participants raise hand. That include Ahmad, you. You're muted.
If there is any quick questions that people have, I know Kyrene has been asking. Yeah, Kyrene, then I mean, say your piece now, Kyrene. I'm going to let you unmute.
Thank you very much. Actually, this talk is a glimpse of light. It's a ray of light for me. Fortunately, I am in an organization of an education. So domestic violence, yes, usually with spouse. But because I'm under education with children, I get the overflow. You see, I see the children. I see how they respond, their behavior, their attitude. And this actually small. If you're trained and if you're good at it with your soft skill, you can see it and you can catch early. But unfortunately, there's only one me in a huge school. There are times where I actually required support from educator, from even a cleaner, even sometimes. But this is what I see, the unfortunate part. Gladly we are moving forward, but there is no training for them. What can we do to help for these people, the civilian, to help us so that we can move forward? Like Dr. Pei Li, just now you said, it's not many men to come, but we can start from education side, which is, I'm very fortunate where my school, we are with foreigner, where they are well developed their side. So they actually come training our teacher, which is local or non-local. For so long like you are in our organization, we make sure you are trained how to see, how to capture, and it helps. It took us a good 3 years to make the local understand this is not okay. What is not okay? It takes time. That is for teachers, let alone parents. We haven't even touched parents. So, so that is one problem. I noticed there's no local training. It's not easy to understand foreign training, okay? Because first, language. Sometimes they use a very high-end language. I'm not saying that we cannot understand English or things like that. Sometimes there's a slang, sometimes there are terms that we don't understand. They don't understand. So it is hard to actually make them understand what is not okay. That's one problem. Second is, it's hard to correlate their problem over that side of the world and our side of the world. Because like you said, we grow up with caning and that's okay. And what is not okay of caning? So I need help. I cannot find any training to support. There is local training. Is there any? Because I can't find.
Okay.
If there's any, I would like to share. Please share with me. Number two, this one is more of question from Puan Kogi. I'm sorry, I know I'm taking long time, but I cannot get this platform anymore. So second thing is, we do try to work with officer, okay? Because there are cases that we say, okay, this is too much, we cannot handle anymore. Internally, we need to make a report. Okay, when we make a report, sometimes there are officers that, okay, this is wrong, you go through here, and this. This is what you should do. First police station, no, then you need to go to the IO. Then we go to the hospital. So there's a lot of things we need to do in school. So it's not as simple, make a report, you'll be done. No, it's not. And we don't know. So like I said, it's a process of 3 years to understand, actually. It's a learning step, even for me. So, and there are times where, why that case we do this? Why that case we don't do it? Why this case we go for report and that case don't go hospital? So it kind of making us who is in learning process, maybe there's actually no process at all. We just try and error. You know, it kind of giving us 2 steps back. Are we, the school, doing a right thing? Because we also afraid that we can get legal action. You see? So, and we don't have privilege of many officers that can speak in fluent English with the foreigner here. Am I right to say that, Madam Kogi? We don't have that privilege.
Actually, I do agree. I mean, of course, I can see that when they come over, they've been struggling to confess what exactly happened a bit emotionally, but when they try to confess, the emotion blinds up to be some kind of anger, and the whole thing pops up actually.
Correct. So it's more on a request, because like I said, I don't have this platform anywhere. If I could actually liaise with our panel, if I can work somehow, rather at least with my school, if we can spread more, because it's hard to find a good panel. It's hard to find, especially officer that can converse and know and understand. There is a process. This is what we are doing. Don't worry. You know it's hard because we do internally, but at the end of the day, we have red tape.
Yep.
To go further.
Yeah, Kyrene, your question has been answered as you are asking, because at least when Shoba Ayar has mentioned about WAO and Awam. So I think that's a good start for you to reach out so that then indeed there are a lot of NGOs willing to lend their hands then. I mean, I was involved many years ago with men violence, but the organization sort of faded away. Again, having the challenge of, men trying with their ego and macho-ness wouldn't want to, unless something happened to them, that certainly. So I want to take a bit more. Is there any burning question that we have not responded in the thing, Doctor or Madam Kogila, so that we can try and see? So you have given the phone numbers, contact. The halfway house, I know there are a number of halfway house. Anyone would like to comment on this initiative that has been done by some of the NGO? Yeah.
It can also be from the participants. I'm not sure whether it's Shoba.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Sorry. Go ahead, Doctor.
Hi. I'm Shoba. I've worked for over 15 years with Women's Aid. And after that, I've been working with many other NGOs. And last year I was working with YWCA. We had a shelter in Klang. So there are about 11 organizations or 11 shelters around Malaysia. So if you want to know, I mean, you can just call the main Awam or WAO. If they don't have space, they will refer you to other shelters. So it's quite straightforward. It's not the best of the place, but for an emergency, these are the best places to go, for protection and getting immediate help. So Mr. Ahmad, I hope you please revive the men's support group. I will help you. I'm on like sabbatical. I've got like nothing to do. If you want it, I will help you.
Shoba, I am certainly networked with the Fathers Organization, Better Dads Malaysia, and there is a new one. There's also Empower Fathers, Caring Fathers Empowerment. But I would imagine these are good men that is come rare in this moment. So there is a need that for us to, build a different frontage. The supporting the victim, supporting helping the perpetrators to identify their issues, the medical, the mental, and I think it is an integrated issue. Some people financially they have problem and they don't know who to vent all their frustration, and again, it's the silent victim at home is being the target. There's one question that this lady asked, and I think Kogila, would you able to say if she accidentally killed the man out of rage and manslaughter, and you cannot tahan anymore in self-defense? What's your thought? Just a quick one. Surrender yourself or?
Okay, the question is like how to say the law enforcement is there. Of course, it is still a go against the law. It is still. Is it against the law? Because I know there's one case, I think there will be if I'm not sure everybody knows about it or not, that this girl has, tried to defend herself, but accidentally hit a person, but she's still on the, wrong side, because how to say, the police always, here, the law always sees on the evidence part, and if you're wrong, you are wrong. Later, the judgment, whatever it is, it will be done by the DPP and the judgment on what is that, then you can, but for me, yes, for the law part, it's totally wrong. And I would like to just add on for certain things that maybe public doesn't aware of this. For the DVA cases that happens, they can have their protections order. I'm not sure that Madam Dorothy has been advised or not, but this is for everybody. Because normally DVA is always support for the husband family. It is not for relationship. Everybody should know. Couples, boyfriend, girlfriend, it is not under the DVA. Yeah? Make sure everybody have the clear picture, because sometimes when they come in, oh, my boyfriend hit here. So we have to advise that, ma'am, this is not under DVA, because this comes under general crime, because you've been attacked as the offense. But for the DVA, yes, you have kind of 3 types of protections that you can. If, let's say, you are in danger, you have been hurt and you don't know where to run, you can get your orders to go to the welfare department, social welfare department, to get your EPO, emergency protection order, without launching a police report, which valid for the next 7 days from the day you launch a report. Okay. Thereafter, it is a valid because it is authorized by the social welfare department under the court. So if you breached out the abuser without the police report, you can be caught. All right, that is for the emergency police report. Okay. Then we have the IPO, interim protection order, which is always valid for the under section 4 until the case is complete. It means once the victim launch a report, they can be given interim protection order for until the case is complete. Investigation complete for total investigation. Thereafter, once the case has been provided, the case has been to the prosecution. All right. Once the case has been said that, okay, the defender already, the perpetrator's already been prosecuted and pleaded guilty and everything. Of course, she might be feeling that defense, oh my God, I'm so scared after being jailed for many years, he's going to come out and all this stuff. That will be under PO. That means valid for this, because sometimes not all cases can be pleaded guilty. They can get fined, and like what Dorothy says, after 3 days, 4 days, you can claim on you can come out from the bail, okay? And that makes the victims, oh my God, he's going to come out, and so fear. That time you can request it for the PO, protection order, because your case would have been there. So it is always valid. Basic valid will be for 1 year and can make an extension for another 1 more year. So basically you have 2 years from the date of the prosecution. So this is the general knowledge for everybody, that you have some kind of protection as well. If you breach, if the abuser breach, yes, you will get it from this one. This is just a general sharing.
Thank you to enlighten us. Obviously, if there is something specific, we have to go back. Ladies and gentlemen, we have stayed for the last 90 minutes and I didn't feel the time zoom in this Zoom. And obviously, this is something that we would not stop here. Certainly, there are still work to be done. So before I make some announcement on our future program, which I think just hang on, and also to advise people to start doing some feedback evaluation for our future program. I'm giving some last minute remarks, 1 or 2 minutes on Dr. Yeo Pei Li on her final message to all of us, and then pass it to Kogilavaani on what would be your takeaway in these things before we end, and having that announcement that I will share shortly. Over to you then, Doctor.
Okay, I would say 2 things: be educated and be a reporter. Educated as in like get yourself exposed to what is all this about, and then pass on the education. Yeah, as a reporter, you just share whatever that you know about domestic violence. What are the signs? What is appropriate, not appropriate? Just so that if your friend or you yourself notice, please tell them reporting. If not, you reporting is doing them a great favor. Yeah, because you're saving lives here. So don't be afraid that you'll be stalked, whatsoever. I think Taliang Kasih can make it anonymous. Yeah, and it can be very safe. Yeah, but I must say, for men to come forward, sometimes for men to reach out, it has to be some emotional, traumatic experience. Something has to happen. So some of my experiences, is when wives are so determined to want to end the marriage, because they themselves are a victim themselves, and they themselves are also very insecure. They also need you as much as you need them. So don't be afraid to make that stand, and then you can also put your foot down. If you really want me to hang in the marriage, we must go for counseling, or do whatever or it take. We need to seek help. Let's involve maybe our respected leaders, who knows us, our common friend who can really be a mediator, things like that. Reach out. Yeah, so that's my 2 things. Yeah, thanks.
And great thoughts, Doctor. Moving on, Puan Kogilavaani.
All right, thank you. Okay, first of all, I would like to say bravo to Madam Dorothy, who have shared the experience of living for 34 years that she has gone through, and finally the decision that I have mentioned before, when they used to, when with the janji tipu, the one they said, I love you and I get back, but finally she had come out daringly, and I really like to encourage her that she's, everybody can see that she has seen her strength, even though she knows what is her weaknesses there. So identify your strength, you can always walk out. There's always a way. So she have identified that she wants a peaceful life, she wants a great life, she wants a happiness in her life, but the rest, where she wants to spend over the lifespan. Am I correct? So this has motivated her to move forward and to dare. I don't care. The self-criticism that she accepting is really bravo. Good. You are really, like what I said is like, you have put yourself in a very high level to people to say that, yes, you are moving in. Nowadays, being in a divorce is not like to base it, like that, like what Dorothy said those days, oh, no, you cannot divorce. No, nowadays, everybody have understanding when you feel that your relationship is not working out, rather than using of violence, ended up in a very ritual way. That means discuss that, no, both of us are not getting along. I think we have to put a full stop for their own goodness. That is what mostly I will say to my victims, that if you can talk, bring both of you to say that what are the things, and end it in a nice way rather than putting out the violence. So I would always say, please break your egos in your marriage relationship status. That will be my final word. Thank you, and have a good day all.
Thank you very much, Madam Kogilavaani. From me, I would like to remind us, if somebody comes forward, could be a friend, a colleague, or a family member, and tell us that he or she is being abused, please listen. Because there are cases, in fact, many cases where, you don't see on the outside, it looks like it's a perfect marriage, it's a perfect relationship. and you don't know what is going on. And this is one of the hurdles, as I understand it, on the part of the abused person, on the part of the victim, when we, as a friend or a family member or as a colleague, we fail to support them, it makes it much more difficult for them to step out of the hell that they're going through.
Yep. Truly, I hope this session has become a source of inspiration to all of us wanting to live in a better and good life. And I think the spirit of Madam Dorothy probably has helped us to open not only our eyes, our mind, and also embrace this new hope that things will and hopefully out there helping you. So last but not least, let me just share to you the final announcement that I wanted to make. Kulmam Superdad, if you can see the my slide pack, this is our session this month. For next month, because next month is Father Day, yes, we are going to now speak to the men. Again, another free sessions. It's a day before Father's Day, because the Father's Day falls on Sunday, 20th of June, which is the 3rd, and we're calling in 2 fathers to talk about, and it is in Malay. We will ask them to mix around, and some of you probably know parental coach Cik Zaid Muhammad, and this is the new Caring Empowerment Father Society, the chairman himself, and Jamilah and I will be facilitating and ask some really uncompromising straight talk to the men. Why are they not leading their way then? So that's for the month of June. And I will also like to give you one more coming in July. So Wednesday, July the 14th, it's going to be about developing your child financial literacy. Now, I think more and more we need to equip our children. And who's the best guy? With Encik Azizi, the best-selling author, and also Madam Eng Puyi, the CEO for littletauke.com. And I hope, we will share you the link so that you can, in the chat, can you share the link in the chat shortly, and hope that some of you would be able to inform the others or relate, so that then hopefully we could be able to benefit from this. And I must admit that I was quite overwhelmed, because we have about 123 people, but 100 people came in this session. That's to show the intensity, that's to show the severity, but that's to show the audacity that all of us willing to talk openly on this subject. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really wish that all of us are going to do something different in this desire, and hope that we would be able to help others who are in need. So again and again, I don't have any other things to say, but I would like to thank the panelists. They came forward in their true, sincerity. May God bless all your work and effort. I hope that this is not going to be the first, and hopefully we'll have the sequel too of the blockbuster topic that we are going to enlighten. I also hope that some of the participants would also be able to come and join us and participate. Hopefully, we would be able to provide you with at least some awareness level. And I must admit that one of my greatest worry in this is that it is happening amongst the professionals now. Although Madam Kogilavaani says it's across the board. You tak kira B40, M40, T20. It is happening across the board. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. Our younger generation would definitely face a great dilemma if we don't take that firm action. I knew my species has a lot of things that can influence things. I certainly applaud the courage of the participants who come forward, and I certainly hope that with this program, each and every one of us will take the nugget to help one another and become a better. All the best to you. Thank you very much. And on behalf of Cool Mom Super Dad, we bid farewell and thank you with that then. You want to come back, Pei Li and Kogila? We have a separate discussion? Yeah, I'll send you shortly.